What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. So now Boss of Bosses 5 is over, fresh off the meet, and I've got a recap for you guys. So I'm extremely happy with the way the meet went. In a nutshell, came into the meet a little bit apprehensive, not necessarily feeling bad, but I just wasn't sure about not hitting the last couple of lifts. Other than deadlift went pretty well. My squats, as you guys, if you've seen week 22's recap, it was a little high, hips were a little tight, fatigue was setting in with the training and everything. Wasn't sure what to expect. Obviously the goal at the meet is 705 or more, so 685 just didn't quite move the way I wanted it to, and I couldn't do much about that other than, you know, just if I wanted to take it again, I could have possibly hit 685 faster or 695, but really there's a chance of hurting yourself in that situation. And that's a whole nother video. But bench, as many of you know, my bench has taken a hit, not just because of full meet training, it's just different. A lot of you ask me why I'm not going for 700 or what's going on with bench. Basically, when you train squat, bench, and deadlift, all heavy, week in and week out, something's got to give. Typically, one of those lifts is gonna fall behind. Doesn't always happen that way, but it definitely can. In my case, bench is the one that's taking the hit, as you'll see in the meet. Let's let you see the video here. But in training, leading up to the meet, about 7 or 8 weeks ago, my shoulder started messing with me, and I took a little bit of time off from doing barbell press. That was more of a preventative thing, and also just to let the inflammation in my shoulder and my delts, and I actually had some tricep pain as well, just to let it subside. I went to heavy dumbbells with the 200s, as you guys probably seen, and did very well with that. It wasn't progressing me in bench, but it definitely didn't let me fall backwards. So I went into that probably around the 550, 560 range. And just the timing for the meet, I wasn't able to get much over 6 before the meet. I think if I would have had some more time, I could have naturally gone up into the 650 range and put up some pretty good numbers on bench, or higher numbers anyways. But it's the name of the game. The total goal is 2100 for the meet, and my planned lifts were about 700 or so on squat, somewhere in the range of 630. Maybe 650 on bench. I'd love to get the all-time record, if that happens, for the full meet, which is 666 at 308 and 650 at 275. Going to this meet is basically sitting around 290. And then deadlift, the plan is to go somewhere in the middle of the 700s. I'd love to go 800. Now I'm not really sure. The heaviest I've lifted in training prior to this meet was 745, and that went pretty easy considering it was 2 weeks out. But I'll go ahead and stop talking at this moment and let you guys watch the meet recap. Hope you enjoy, and I will join you afterwards just to kind of recap and let you guys know how I kind of felt about everything.
Let's go, James!
James Strickland.
You got this, James!
One of the strongest bench pressers in the world. Put his name into the arena to be one of the strongest men in the world, and he swims. Bruce is on deck, Greg Ellis is in the hole, and then we go back up to Jimmy O'Doyle rules for our second attempt.
Easy stuff, man. Let's go.
Let's go, man. He made really cool facial expressions to make us think it's going to be hard, and then he did.
Let's go, James!
Let's go, Strickland. I'm pretty sure he was smiling.
All right, so I am extremely excited to do this recap. As you guys have seen, meet went very, very well. Obviously hit my total. My goal was 2100, nailed it. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a recap about what I was thinking going into the meet through each lift, just to kind of give you a feel for what I was thinking. Did it for the last meet, figured I'd continue it on for this meet. So the last meet, as you guys may have seen, was in June, which was about 2 months ago. So literally about 60, so it was the beginning of June, so really about 90 days ago. So I had a good 12-week or so training cycle between the June meet and this meet. Came up short with 1984. I got called out by a lot of you guys. You know, I'll say rightfully so, but honestly, I think it was a lot of it's just trolling. You know, when you guys say, you know, you don't belong in the elite level, you'll never get, you know, to that level, you'll never do 2100 stick to bench. You know, and actually I want to thank you guys for that. I appreciate it, because not only do I not really listen to that kind of comment, but it really lets me know that I'm on the right track. And I do appreciate it. You know, I can get aggressive with it, and I can, you know, talk trash back and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it really, it's very nice to be able to do what I do because I love it. And then to be able to show people such as yourself that when you make a goal and you achieve it, that it shows people that when they're told that they can't achieve it, that they actually can. So I want that to be a lesson here that, you know, I'm not the best powerlifter in the world, and I know that. And honestly, I really don't care to ever be the best powerlifter in the world. I would love to be the best bench presser in the world, and that's a title that I am long away from. There's a lot of people in line for that. There's a lot of people that have already done a lot better things than me, but that would be my goal. To be a full meat powerlifter, not so much. It's just not a passion of mine. Now, don't get me wrong. I love lifting heavy. I love hitting the gym. I love getting in there with those guys. But let's just put it this way. I got into powerlifting because of bench press. I didn't get into it because of squat and deadlift. I just happened to kind of fall into powerlifting with the bench press and decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put up a good squat number and put up a good deadlift number. And some of it was to shut some of you guys up, just to, you know, you talk a lot and you comment about BS stuff, and, you know, oh, you can't squat, you can't deadlift, why is your bench so high? And, you know, it's a little irritating, but at the same time, I have something to prove to myself, and so might as well showcase that talent to the world. And so the idea behind it is, when you work hard, you get results. You know, obviously when you work hard with a good knowledge base behind you and a great support system behind you and great friends and training partners and coaches, you will achieve what you set out to achieve. So to get off the soapbox, I'll get back to the meet recap, and we can talk about all that other stuff some other time. So going into the meet, naturally the last couple weeks I'm pretty fatigued. You know, I'm waiting to get my deload week, get some swimming in, get some stretching, massage, eat a little bit, and just basically relax and let my mind not have to worry about working out for a good 9 to 10 days. And actually it's about 11 days. So going into the meet, I'm fresh. And so flew out to Boss of Bosses. Thank you guys for taking care of me out there. Dan Green for the invite. It was definitely an experience of a lifetime. The meet to go to, the extremely great caliber lifters, the best of the best. I couldn't have asked for a better meet at better timing. So going out to the meet, my plan was to stay mentally focused and not let anything bother me. I didn't get amped up for any lifts, naturally so. That's kind of how I lift. So going into it, my planned opener, I weighed in at 293, which is honestly, you know, I didn't really care about weight classes. I basically ate McDonald's, or actually I had Burger King that morning, had some pancakes and a couple of hot biscuits and egg and cheese biscuits and a couple of orange juices. Literally about 5 minutes before I weighed in, I was literally sipping on my last bit of orange juice. So I didn't really care what I weighed in at, because it doesn't matter. Not to me. I wasn't going for Wilks. I was just going for me. I didn't have anybody that I was competing against. I didn't even know, honestly, who the competitors were until like the day before. And I was just curious because I was I was bored on the plane. I wanted to see who was there and what they were going to be doing. Noticed that most of the lifters were in wraps, so I knew that they weren't direct competitors, but naturally I wanted to put up something, and I think 2100 would put me somewhere in there with those guys. But I was a little apprehensive because the last meet fell through. I was nervous. Nervous is a good thing for me, and it's not really a bad nervousness. It's more of just an unsure, you know, I have to have faith that my training and trust my training will put me in a position to do well at the meet. And it's not a crapshoot. It's not a Hail Mary. It's not I did really bad on squat, so hopefully I add 30 pounds just because it's meet day. No, it's not like that at all. But there's obviously some things that you can't control, and some things you can. So it's focusing on the things that you can control, which is sleep, recovery, rest, you know, eating the right way, keep your mind right, not going out partying the night before, stupid stuff that people do. I don't know why, but so little stuff like that as a mature person and a mature lifter, I naturally will do. You won't see me going out and doing anything dumb the day before the meet. I'm going to be in bed at a decent time so that I have a full 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep, wake up early, go to the rules meeting, and I'm ready for the meet. And I'm not real social during the meets, maybe between the 2 hour lifting time, but on the attempts, it's just me, maybe my headphones, and just kind of getting down and dirty. But So back to weigh-ins, weighed in at 293, and set my opener for squat at pretty moderate 640. Figured that would be no big deal. I'd hit that no matter what. Depending on how the judging was, then I would adjust for second attempt and go from there. Set my opener for bench at 600, which is lower than I have done for the last few meets. In fact, my opener at the last meet was 633. And mentally, it took a little bit of a toll on me because I was thinking, I'm just selling out. But it's not about bench. It's about the total. So set my opener for deadlift at 677, which is pretty light. But I'm actually glad that I set all those openers because I'll tell you, as we go through the meet, it definitely worked out in my favor. So start the day off, I go out for my squats, and everything felt heavy, honestly, in warm-up. 315 felt heavy. I was doing it in a monolift for the very first time in this particular meet. I haven't done it in a few years. I haven't lifted it out of a monolift. So I'm walking out my squats, and then just everything just felt off a little bit. But I knew that I was moving the weight. I was just priming the CNS. And so I was just kind of going through the motions, making sure that I was hitting my lifts just like I normally would. Kilo plates were a little off in the warm-up area, so I wasn't really sure 100% what I was lifting, but I was trying to be as close to possible, close to the weight that I needed to be as possible. So go out, get ready for my first attempt on squat. Very methodical about every lift. Treated every single lift as if it's the maximum effort that I needed to put in, like it's literally 800 pounds. So I got out there, nailed my first squat. I got called on that first squat for red light on, I think it was just depth on one side. It may have been the angle, who knows, but I got 2 whites, so it was good. Called for, instead of going straight to 683, which was my planned second attempt, I went ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just play it safe and go 677. So went 677, nailed it. It was actually easier than the first. Because I went a little lower on it, got a little additional rebound. I think that was a benefit to getting called on that side. It made me think I maybe should make sure I go a little lower on this next one. And then third attempt, I was a little hesitant to jump so much, but I went ahead and said, you know what, I'm here for 705. I want 705. Went ahead and put it on there, and that round number obviously is a mental barrier as well. But I didn't think too much about it. Went back, I went through my same regimen of just in between the lifts, there's about 10 minutes or so, and 10, maybe 15, and relaxed, don't talk to anybody, stretch, my legs a little bit just to kind of keep things warm, and go through the same methodical process. Go out there for 705, I unrack it, and it was heavy as hell. I'm not gonna lie. It literally, I thought, okay, this is gonna be a task here. Walk it out, and as I'm taking my breaths, I'm like, okay, this is heavy. I've had 705 on my back before, but in this particular sense, I think it was just because I had taken the days off. It was a mixture of having the days off and not feeling that kind of weight, and then also being 20 pounds heavier than I've ever been in this particular training cycle. So that did make a difference. But I went ahead and trusted that if I go ahead and just bottom, or not bottoming out, but hit the squat, hit depth, hit the hole hard and fast, came up out of it, and as you can see on that recap there, that I was happy about that. Obviously, I was smiling on the way up. So nailed the 705. Just go ahead and secure that squat goal out of the way. My goal was 705. I nailed it. So I didn't even think much about that until after the meet. But so moving on, a couple hours before we even hit bench press, start warming up for bench, and everything seems to be moving fine. My last warm up was about 565 or so. Went out, opened up at 600, felt very natural, felt like I was back on the bench again. So went for 622 on a second. I knew that jumping 630 would probably be a little too much in this particular meet. In any other meet, probably would have been fine. I opened at 628 back when I did 672. So open at 600 and going to 622 is I think pretty manageable for me. But I'm also at this moment in time not a 672 pound bencher, so I have to also keep that in mind. But it makes the mental jumps easier. So on second attempt, 622, it didn't move as fast as I wanted it to. It felt heavier than I wanted it to. So once I went ahead and locked that out, looked at the lights, got my whites, and went ahead and just said, you know what, it's not worth either trying to go. I'm not going to go 650 today. I knew that at that moment. And it was a little disconcerting because I know I'm a 650 pound bencher, but plus But I went ahead and said, you know what, it's for the total. And so check the ego at the door. It was already done. I went ahead and said, you know what, let's just add 10 pounds. Let's see if we can add, let's go 633, see what happens. 633 seemed to move fine, as you can see. There was, I didn't notice this until after I watched the lift, there was some downward motion, which is why they grabbed it. I thought they grabbed it a little premature while I was lifting. So I was a little kind of like, okay, well, they grabbed it, but I was only giving up 11 pounds. So either way, it wasn't the end of the meet. I did want to secure I didn't want to have to go over 760 for deadlift. I wasn't real secure in my thought process of knowing and being confident that I was going to have much more than like 750, because that's always been in my mind this whole training cycle. And last is 755 or so was going to be my goal. So going into deadlifts, I knew that I needed a 771 to get my total. But like I tell everybody, I'm not worried about my last deadlift until I get to it. So I had my planned opener at 677. I rolled everything out. My back is pumped. It's tight. I can't seem to relax my back at all. So I'm literally just continuing to roll out, not hard, but just trying to stay relaxed, but still staying mobile and get the blood flowing. Definitely getting food in during the day, not big meals, but small little meals and plenty of liquids, BCAAs. So deadlifts come out for warm-ups. I hit 585 as my last heavy, or actually my last warm-up. And it didn't move near as fast as I wanted to. It was a little bit of stiff leg, but I knew that I was pretty tight. And so I thought, okay, this is going to be a task. I'm going to have to jump almost 200 pounds from this to get my goal total. I don't know about this. It's pretty iffy. But like I said, I'm not worried about my last lift. I'm worried about my next lift. So I go out, I open at 677, I get tight, pull it up, and boom, I'm happy. Okay, now, without really knowing it, I had secured a 2000, I think it was a 2016 or something total. I was in the 2000 range at that point. I had officially broken 2000. I didn't even care. I didn't even know. I had no idea where I was at that point. I knew I was at 1320 something, 1330 after bench, but I didn't think, okay, if I add 677, this is where I'm at. So I called for my second deadlift. The plan was to go like 738. I went ahead and stuck with that, pointed right at it, told the lady, go ahead and put 738 down. And I didn't think, okay, this is a PR. When I went out for it, I didn't think this is going to be super heavy. This is more than I've ever lifted. I just thought, okay, this is what I've done in training. I know I can at least get it in the meet. Got tight and pulled it up. It didn't move as fast as I wanted to. Until I looked at the video, I really was unsure if I could go up much more. I certainly did not think that I could go up another 30 some odd pounds for 771. I actually asked Steve Goggins, who's not my coach, but I've seen him at several meets. We know each other online. It's hard to tell, if you don't know somebody, good advice as far as what their next attempt should be, because you just don't know them. But he was the only one at the meet that I could really rely on, that saw the lift, that could watch the video with me. And after the 738 went up, I was already sitting at about 2069 total. Didn't even think about it at that point. All I knew was, okay, if I go, and I asked Steve God, I said, so what do you think I should go? He goes, well, I think you might have another maybe 20 pounds in maybe 760-ish. And I kept thinking, okay, that's going to put me like 10 pounds or 11 pounds short of my 2100 total. Did I come here to go 2089 or did I come here to go 2100? And I kept battling with myself back and forth. And I remember just kind of pacing and going, okay, there's no way I'm going to go 771. That's just, I can't wrap my head around that. It's a mental block. Something about it, I don't know, I just couldn't in the moment really comprehend that I was going to have to do that. So I asked him, I asked the lady, I said, do I have enough time? How much time do I need to give you this attempt selection? She goes, oh, take your time. So normally in like USPA meets, there's a little bit of a time limit there. So like 1 minute, they were letting us kind of take some time, pick on that last deadlift attempt. And I said, I'm here for 2100. I'm going to take a gamble at it. I'm either going to go big or go home. I'm either going to fail miserably or I'm going to nail it. I probably at that point thought I was going to miss it, but at least I touched it. It's kind of like the 702 pound attempt back in February. At least I can say I've tried it, which is an honor in itself, but I don't come to fail. Like I don't go out there to fail. I'm going to put everything into it. So I went ahead and said, you know what, 771, I'm going for it. And the only person that really cared or was excited about it was me, because nobody else really knew what was on the line. Nobody really knew that 2100 was literally on the line at this last lift. I think everybody figured that I had it all together. I didn't really know. I didn't plan it out that carefully, because each lift depends on the last one. And ultimately it came down to that. And I wasn't about to go more than that, go 783 or anything crazy. So I had about 5 minutes left on the clock at that point. I took some time, went, kind of sat down, did my same regimen. I actually put some extra chalk or extra powder on my legs. Thanks to Steve. He did say, you need to put a little more chalk, more powder on your legs, which I'm glad I did, because I needed that during that exact lift, as you saw. But as you saw, the excitement after that 771 was definitely warranted, because it was the hardest lift that I've ever done to this point in my life and this point in my career. Never have I done any other lift that's more difficult than that, mentally, physically, technique-wise, form, everything. As you saw, it's very, very close to being a hitch, but I was so in tune with the lift. I don't know if I've ever really been that in tune with what's going on during my lift. As I'm lifting it, I realize, okay, I actually have a shot at this. Once it gets above my knees, I'm pretty much good to go. But it is a lot of weight. I could feel my grip slipping a little bit, so I tightened down quite a bit. I was focusing on not using my biceps and curling it at all, because I figured if I'm going to tear something, it's going to be on this lift. I don't want to do that. I literally was focused on everything. I blacked out a little bit halfway up, and as it got to my thighs, I still don't know what actually made me want to buckle my knees and kind of get underneath it. I think it's just a natural reaction. You think maybe you're going to be able to ramp it up. But I knew that if I would pull it any more, as soon as I bent my legs, if I would have pulled any, that it would have literally been called a ramp and red lighted. And all my hard work up to that point for the whole meet would have literally just fallen apart. And so I had enough conscious effort in my mind to know if I just push my hips forward and just straighten up my legs, I'm already at lockout. And so if you watch that again, you'll literally see that I do that. And so I think a couple people in the audience were like, oh, he hitched it, and they literally thought it was going to get red lighted. But and if I did, I would literally be the first to tell you, but it was so close to that. But I learned so much about myself as a lifter, not only mentally, but just the effects of being able to stay focused during a lift, the mental aspect of it, obviously, but the physical. I honestly don't think I've ever pushed myself that hard in a lift. I don't remember that, and definitely walk away with some questions about some of my past lifts. So learning about everything that went on in the meet, and then that lift specifically makes me wonder on some of the lifts that I missed in the past. Did I give it up? Did I just not push deep enough? Or is this something that I've learned now that will actually carry me forward to the next level of my lifting and my training and everything else? So I'm really excited going forward. I've officially got my 2100 total, and the road to 2100 pounds is closed. Never again. Don't have to do it ever again if I don't want to. At this point, full meets on the back burner. I'm not even worried about doing deadlifts and squats. Training for those is going to go way back down to more of a maintenance phase, taking those back down to maybe the 500-600 range, and that's it. I'm not going to go much over those, maybe the 5 rep range on those. The focus now is back to the road to 700 pounds on bench. Never have I been more confident about that, because once the squat and deadlift fatigue comes off, the low bar squats aren't happening anymore, my shoulders get back to normal. I know I have a knack for bench press. My passion is in bench press way more. I think it's easier for me to bench press 700 pounds or more than to go for the full meet total at 2100 pounds. That's just me personally. So very excited going forward. Very excited to share this with you guys. I know a lot of you guys have reached out in support, and I want to thank you guys so much. It means a lot. I live for myself, but having that support and knowing that I inspire people is humbling. It really is. I never take that for granted. That's why I answer every single question I possibly can, give as much information out as I can, take as much information as I can for you guys, and try to just share whatever it is that I need to share to help you guys out. Because at the end of the day, I feel better about what I'm doing if I'm able to apply that to somebody else and help them out. So I don't have a meet planned going forward. Definitely going to train for a good solid 20 weeks or so minimum. I'm going to take probably the next few weeks off, literally just maybe go in the gym and piddle around, swim a little bit, get some massages, just let my body rest up. I'm not training for anything specific. There's no reason to go in. I'm not a stress lifter. I don't need to go in just to go into the gym. I can literally be a lazy bum for the next 2 weeks and my body will thank me for it. I may lose a little tone, doesn't really matter, because when I get back into it and I put 100% back into it, I will be healthy, I will be ready, and I will have all the motivation in the world to kick 700's butt. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm not a young guy anymore. I feel extremely young. I'm 38. I don't know anybody else that's at this level with bench press anyways that's pushing the 40 envelope. I could be wrong, but most of the guys are pretty young. But you know, I'm on a time clock here. I don't know how much time I have left with lifting. I don't think that I have a time limit necessarily, but if I do, I definitely want to beat the clock and put some numbers out there before I even get close to the masters category. But having fun with it, that's the whole name of the game. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't fun, if I didn't enjoy it. But I definitely want to thank oh, there's so many people. Definitely want to thank my training partners, Woodland Strength and Conditioning. They've been there for me ever since the beginning almost. I mean, literally before I was even really anybody in the powerlifting community. Tommy, Jeff, Jessica Belt at Houston's very finest powerlifting gym, Woodland Strength and Conditioning. I haven't been able to make it up there in a while. I live pretty far, so it's one of those things where I train as much as I can, and actually I was able to train this last training cycle without going up there. But I need to get back up there, definitely. My bench training will definitely be a lot better going forward if I can get up and get my training in there versus the typical commercial gym, which is fine. I can handle it, but it's really better just to have a better environment to lift in than kind of having an old lady over here and, you know, a kid over here and somebody talking your ear off over here. But so I want to thank you guys personally for everything. You guys have supported me from the beginning. I want to thank obviously God and not in any specific order either, but my wife, my kids, love you guys. You guys are literally the reason why I walk this earth every day, because I want to give back to you guys. I grew up without a dad. It very much means a lot to me to share not only my life experiences, but your life experiences with you, and love you very much, honey. You're my rock. You literally get me through the hardest times, and it's just very enjoyable. Let's, you know, not to get all sappy, but you know, I wake up in the morning and I really like to just not worry about anything else. And so you taking care of everything in our life, taking care of our home and our children, and that allows me to go and train the way I do. I don't know how I could do it without it. So thank you. My coach, Josh Bryant, you're a friend of mine. You're my coach. I trust you. Your knowledge, your background, programming has got me well over some of these major humps in my lifting and continues to. So I want to thank you, Josh Strength, Josh Bryant, Jailhouse Strong, Gas Station Ready, and all my Gas Station Ready or my Jailhouse Strong teammates, Julius, who's doing it big on bench, Jeremy Hornstra, David Douglas. I mean, there's all you guys. But want to thank my past sponsor. We're not working together right now, but Anderson Powerlifting, you guys supported me from the very beginning as well. Ken Anderson, Kevin Pittman, thank you very much for your support. You helped me out when nobody else would. Definitely want to thank Steve at Skull Smash for my ammonia needs and my Sore No More. That stuff really works great. And then also want to thank Hand Armor Chalk. You guys provide great chalk for my workouts. One of my newest sponsors, Texas Power Bars. You guys provide me with the best bars that I could definitely need, and I need in my training very much. Squat bars and my bench bars. They don't bend, they don't break. They handle all the weight that I can definitely handle. So thank you. I want to thank Mark Bell, Slingshot, who is now providing me with my workout gear, my wraps, my slingshots, all that good stuff. Very good equipment, and definitely keep me safe and healthy. My elbow sleeves, knee sleeves, and I have a very big announcement for you guys. If you don't already know, which you may, because this video is a little bit older than a couple weeks, but I got a video for you here, so stay tuned, and I'll see you here in a second.
we know that animal has always supported us, and so over the last 12 months, we have actually just been keeping an eye on who we want to invite out to Boston Bosses, which I don't really have to say so, but these guys have been keeping an eye on who they want to sponsor, and as soon as we know who we want to sponsor, we then reach out to the sponsors of Boston Bosses, and we say, hey, look, these are all the guys who are to Boston Bosses. Keep an eye on them over the next 6 months. They said they're in it, and after speaking to them at the meet today, they had selected a few guys who were nominations, and I just said, they're all great. I don't want to know who you guys picked, but the guy that they picked, I actually met him. It's a guy I'm not gonna give it away, but I don't think they ever sponsored me. So it's kind of obvious, the guy. But he's an amazing guy. He is such a sweetheart. And I had the honor of meeting him on a different level besides powerlifting. And it's hard to find people in the sport who you can tell they just love it. They're in it for the right reasons. And I don't think it's ever going to fade out with them. They're a great representation person. What do you call it? Ambassador for the sport. And so the person that you guys picked, I back you guys 100%. I think it was a great choice.
For the record, second place was Joseph Park. No, these are never easy decisions. There are so many guys and girls, so many fantastic athletes out there this whole weekend. We're impressed with all your performances. But the person that we did choose, James Strickland.
Hey! He got it!
Well, we wanted to make sure that he, could do more than just bench.
Oh, you're gonna cry. Let it out. It's okay. It's so cute. Oh my God. You weren't expecting it, were you? Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, this is gonna make you look so amazing on you. So, James, you guys, I gotta tell you, they gave me 5 guys' names in the beginning. I know that much. And God, I was like, oh no, I cannot be a part of this. I don't want you to say so. Which I always say that, but this is a really hard choice for them, a hard decision for them. And James, you just outshine them. You outshine them from the start. You are an amazing guy. And I know how hard it is to travel without your family, and doing that and doing as well as you did this past weekend it's tough, it's rough, and I don't know how my husband will survive without me. So Jade, congratulations. Welcome to the family. I swear to you, we are family at Animal. And I am just a wife, but I am so involved in Animal. So welcome, and these are your new brothers. Andrew won the sponsorship last year. Pete Rubish was a sponsor athlete for 2-3 years now. It's an amazing team to be a part of, and I hope to see you in the cage and at more animal events. Welcome to the team. Congratulations.
All right, you heard that right. Animal's newest athlete. I could not be more happy. I literally, so I didn't have any clue going into this meet that I was even in the running for this. I thought possibly that they would be giving one out. I didn't know who was going to get it. I didn't know how well I did in the meet. I ended up walking away with third place best lifter based on Wilkes, first in the 308 category for raw. Walked away with the biggest raw total. Who would have thought? But I walked away with an animal sponsorship, a company that I have supported and been behind since I literally started lifting in 2008. I've been taking Animal Pack, I take Animal Whey, I love the joint supplements. It's pretty much everything I take. Sometimes I just don't afford it all, so I don't get it all. But they've sent me great stuff. I've been invited to the Animal Cage twice, and it looks like for the indefinite future. Until further notice, I will be continuing to be a part of the animal team and going to the animal cage. So I appreciate you guys, Eric, J-Dog, Universal Nutrition, Animal, all my brothers now in the Animal Pack team. Can't wait to lift with you guys again as an official athlete. So anybody has any questions at all regarding that, hit me up. I'll definitely give you anything I can. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned. Road to 700 pounds is going to be fun, and I want to share that with you guys. So thanks again, and make sure you follow me on Instagram @swimhack. See you.